Here's a hypothetical question. How would you prepare a meal for 7,000 people in just a few hours? Well, that's the very question our food services team answers in schools across our district every single day. In today's episode of Homeroom Huddle, we're headed through the lunch line to dish up the details on our school meals program. Packed with compliments and criticisms from our students, we'll pick apart the color vegetable rotation, sprinkle regulations over sodium and sugar, and ultimately discover the care and planning in every single bite. Whether you're in the classroom, around the kitchen table, or on the move, Homeroom Huddle is your invitation to stay connected to what matters most in the Issaquah School District. So joining me today for this discussion, we have Brian Olson, Director of Food Services.
Hello.
Judith Woods, the kitchen manager here at Clark Elementary, where we are recording today.
Hi.
Erin Armstrong, principal at Maywood Middle School.
Hello.
Ty Mae Jones, school nurse at Discovery Elementary and parent of 3 children served by the Issaquah School District, currently at Pine Lake Middle School and Skyline High School.
Hello.
And we have Devin Maceo, Title Lab academic interventionist. What exactly does that mean?
I provide reading and math support for students who are working to be at grade level.
Perfect. All right. I'd like to start right at the central question driving this discussion. That is, what impact does good nutrition have on each student's ability to thrive in our schools? Devin?
I would say that as a teacher, having kids well-fed coming into the school day is critical. It takes a piece of their mental load that they have to worry about off their plates, no pun intended. But it just gives them the capacity to really focus on the learning that's being done and sets them up for success going into the day.
Awesome. Thank you. Anyone else want to jump in on that? What impact does good nutrition have on students and their ability to thrive in schools? Ty Mae?
We see a lot of kids come to the health room at Discovery that have not had breakfast in the morning or maybe didn't pack a snack or just didn't eat their lunch and they're hungry. And, the teachers notice that they're not paying attention. Maybe they are having some behavioral challenges. So definitely starting off the day with a full belly and some energy that will sustain them for, the hours that they're at school is super important.
Okay. And I'm curious, beyond just filling their stomachs at the start of the day, do you have any thoughts about how good nutrition can affect a student's ability to get the sleep they need or to self-regulate while they're at school?
I think it's hard as a parent because your kids are constantly being marketed to by companies and their friends have snacks at their houses, and it's not necessarily the best snacks that they want or the best food that they want. I have 3 kids. They've gotten more picky as they've progressed, and it's a challenge to pack them something or allow them to eat something at school that's healthy for them, but also that they want to eat. But it's obviously really important to give them a sustained energy boost throughout their day so that they don't end up crashing. And then you have all these, difficulties with paying attention and maybe are a little more quick to react and less patient with their peers and even with themselves when they feel like they're not performing as well as they would like. The quality of the food and the quality of the calories definitely matter.
Awesome. Thank you. Erin?
When I think about the importance of good nutrition for our students, I really just think about setting them up for success from when they walk through the doors. And so I know one of the things that's unique at Maywood is we're fortunate to have the breakfast program. And so we have an opportunity to connect students with something to eat from when they first enter the building and then continue throughout the day with lunches. And our lunch team is amazing at making sure everyone has what they need, but that helps us keep students fueled. And a lot of our students are very reliant on the meals that they're getting at school every day. And so that is just a really important touch point for students to have access. So those are some of the pieces that stand out to me. When our kids are well fed and taken care of and they get to enjoy those experiences, it translates into the classroom for sure.
Okay. So Ty Mae, what do you observe as a school nurse? How does a nutritious meal or the lack of one impact a student's ability to regulate emotions, anxiety, or connect with their peers?
having access to food first thing in the morning, or just feeling secure that you have food at home, it just translates to so many parts of their school day and how they relate to peers, their own feeling of self-worth even. To really get the most from their school day, they need to have the most from their nutrition. So it is great that, at Discovery, we now have a breakfast program and that students who need it can access it. And even students that make it more convenient for their families to get them fed in the morning, or if they have a before school program, they don't have to eat super early and they'll have another chance to eat something before school starts. It's definitely a wonderful thing.
Perfect. So Devin, you're in the classroom pretty much every day. I'm curious what you see there.
Yeah, before we had the breakfast program and all of this, kids would come asking for snacks regularly, and they still do need snacks sometimes, but the breakfast program not only allows for them to have this food in the morning to get them started on the right foot, but with the awesome share bins and the ability for kids to grab a little extra than what they get on their tray also helps sustain them for the rest of the day. So they'll come into a group and maybe have their craisins that they had from breakfast that they didn't want then, but they want them now. And so breakfast really can last the whole day for some kids and get them through all the way till the final bell, which is great. And it's the same with lunch too.
Okay. And what is a share bin? I don't know what that is.
There are requirements about what they're putting on their tray, and some kids decide on any day that they don't want a part of it. And so anything that's unopened can go in the share bins, and then those are fair game for other kids to get if they would like a little something extra, either at the meal or to put in their backpack for later for a snack.
Okay, thanks for that explanation. Now, from what I understand, many of our school kitchens in Washington State simply reheat and serve meals, but that's not the case here in our district. I'm sure, Brian, you have something to say about this, but Judith, I'd love to hear from you. What does it look like in the morning every day? How are we preparing meals?
Well, we start by coming in and getting the kitchen set up, making sure that everything that we need for breakfast and lunch that day is in the kitchen and ready to go. We also have the BASC program that we provide breakfast for. We get everything out, start prepping and cooking the food. And what's wonderful is on a day like French Toast Day, the French toast can be smelled throughout the building. So when the students enter the building, they may already be hungry, but now they can't wait to come in and get breakfast because they can smell what is being prepared. And we take great pride in our job because we get to feed children. We get to give them exactly what they need in order to get through the rest of their day. A hungry child is not a successful child. And it is something that makes us feel very good. We take time to prepare everything in a way that it's going to be delicious to look at and to eat. And each one of the students that come through the line, we get to welcome them to their day, welcome them to their school day. And that's something that's very wonderful. It's a great thing to be able to do.
I think it was breakfast day for everyone today, right?
Yes.
'Cause we had students coming in saying, is it breakfast day? And it takes me a minute because I'm like, we did breakfast, but it's lunch, but it's breakfast items at lunch.
Yes.
And they're really excited about it and it smells really good.
Oh, breakfast for lunch.
Yes.
Not just for dinner.
Yes.
Yeah.
So kids were coming up today. Is it breakfast today? Yes.
I saw kids looking, the menu is posted ahead of time at breakfast, and I saw kids pointing it out to each other as they were lining up to get their morning breakfast.
That is one of the most popular days in our district, brunch for lunch. Well, popular for the students, not so much
We love it.
custodial staff.
Well, now that we don't have syrup,
True.
they don't mind it.
True.
And of course, all the students ask for syrup.
Of course.
So, Tommy, you want to add something here, it looks like.
Yeah, I think one of the things that is not necessarily along the lines of what we're discussing, but also pertinent to food services is there's a lot of staff that eat school lunch too. And there's definitely some favorites. I know we all would get excited about cheesy rippers and the tomato soup and grilled cheese, and the salad bar offerings are great. So staff appreciate it too.
Excellent addition. Thank you. I did forget to mention the salad bar. That's a lot of fresh vegetables and fruits that staff are chopping and preparing, in addition to some canned products. But, there's plenty of other additional protein and fresh fruits, fresh vegetable options out there for the kids. And that's kind of a pile your plate and kind of unlimited. So if students are done and they're still hungry, come on back up, fill up that plate with some more salad bar options. So thank you, Taime.
Which is different from what I remember when I was in elementary school. It's like, here's your tray with prepackaged fruits and vegetables or whatever it was, and that's what you get.
Yeah.
And Brian, I know you're proud of the way that we prepare food here. It's a little different than many school districts. How are we approaching meal preparation that's different from many school districts that might just be reheating stuff?
Sure. Nationwide, there are school districts that have all kinds of nutrition departments. There are many that may only have the ability to just reheat something kind of like TV dinner style, if you think about it in your head, that's been produced in a production kitchen or straight from the manufacturer for many different reasons. I mean, we are all operating on very, very tight margins for a food service department. So I can definitely see many districts that only have that ability. And then you go down and you might see some districts that are purely scratch cooking. Typically, you'll see those in kind of some smaller districts that maybe only have 4 or 5 schools, et cetera. It's a challenge for us to balance in between those two models. And we do, when we can, cook from scratch. So an example is we do have a baker in every kitchen, and so we bake from scratch. Our pizza dough at the elementary level, dinner rolls, breadsticks, some of our desserts, et cetera. And that's very rare. You don't see that in a lot of school districts around here. Normally when I'm sitting down with other directors and they learn that, their eyes kind of get big and they're like, wow, how do you pull that off? It was something I inherited and just feel strongly in maintaining. We do some scratch entrees as well, but then there's also kind of a fast scratch cooking, if you will, that is a model that we'll have to use. So an example of that would be like our lasagna. So the beef crumbles that we use in it are a pre-cooked item, but we will layer the raw pasta sheets and the sauce and put in our own cheese and whatnot. So it's kind of a combination there. So we try when we can, when it makes sense, to kind of do that hybrid between a scratch and a speed scratch. So it's a little different than what you might see out there at a lot of school districts, especially in our neighboring school districts.
And is there an advantage to the scratch or speed scratch cooking that is experienced in the way it tastes or the nutrition? What's the benefit of doing that approach?
If I can use a pre-cooked beef crumble, for example, it's 100% beef, and then use our own sauces and noodles and whatnot, that's going to contain a lot less preservatives than, say, a frozen type meal. So we have the ability to control a lot more of kind of our sodium levels and some of the other nutrients that we have targets for when menu planning. So a little more flexibility there.
Okay, I didn't know that. Judith, you have something you want to add?
Yeah, and we have another speed scratch recipe that's very good that the students like, and that's our chicken Alfredo. And that is made with braised chicken breasts, and it is really very good. And that's a wonderful alternative to something that is just thrown in the oven and reheated.
Yeah, thanks, Judith. And that's like the perfect segue for what students have to say about our school meals. I went out to a couple of our schools, and this is what they had to say. Okay, I'm stopping at Clark Elementary School.
Good morning. I work for the school district, and we're putting together a little podcast about breakfast and lunch at school. Anyone want to share their thoughts with me today?
Okay.
Yeah?
I have to wake up at 5:30 because my dad, he has to be at work by 7:15, and his work's like 45 minutes away. So it's not like I'm gonna wake up at 5 o'clock just to eat breakfast.
It's good. It's good. My dad thinks they're kind of unhealthy because they have like blueberry muffins and stuff like that. So maybe add something more healthy. Maybe sushi for lunch sometime.
So why is it important for you to have breakfast here at school? Why not just eat breakfast at home?
What if you're in a rush and you can't eat breakfast?
My dad's a teacher, so he has to get to work really early. So I come to Shark Club every day, and I eat the breakfast from here, and it almost always fills me up.
I'm at Skyline. Let's see if I can get anyone to share their thoughts with me.
When I don't eat before practice or something, I get tired quickly and I feel sick and lightheaded. But when I eat, it's I feel energized to the max.
If I was enjoying my lunch, and if I could actually finish my lunch, because if it's bad, I really don't want to finish it, like this steamed broccoli right here. No. So if I get more food in my stomach, I'll be able to focus better.
Yeah, I think it definitely does improve my school day. It makes me more productive because it fills me up and it promotes focus.
I don't really get school lunch often because the vegetarian options isn't that appealing for me. I mean, the burger is kind of good. The salad bar is really nice. I really like that.
I would improve the flavor of food. It's very bland. So yeah, that's my opinion.
It is kind of bland. I'm eating a crispy chicken burger and it just has chicken and nothing else. Other than the food being bland, it's pretty good. It is filling. I like that.
I actually think that it does carry some good nutritional value throughout the day for the kids to have.
School meals do not affect student success because a lot of the meals here are frozen and packaged, and they're not very healthy for the students to eat. I think it's better for students to get healthier options. Yes, they can get salad, but I'm pretty sure they're frozen and prepackaged. So that's my opinion.
I think the school lunches are pretty good. They have a good variety of food for all the students, and so you can get whatever you want. I think it's pretty fairly priced for some of the items, and so students can get enough food, which will carry them through the rest of their day.
I don't think they're very quality, and I don't really feel full after eating it. Lower the prices so you can buy more, so you can be more full.
I know there's a lot to unpack there. Brian, you look like you've just had a dagger to the heart.
No.
Any comments on that?
If I had a nickel for every time I've heard the request for sushi, I would be a millionaire. Unfortunately, that's not very an economical decision for us. It's good to hear the positive and the negative comments. The ones about the food being bland really resonated with me because I get it. With the USDA's regulations that we have on sodium, fat, sugar, calories, et cetera, that we're trying to, or that we're not trying, that we are required to hit, our burger is not going to taste like McDonald's, who doesn't have those restrictions, as one example. So, yes, we are pulling back on a lot of those other seasonings and kind of unhealthy ingredients that you might find in other restaurants. I would think about fried food as well. We don't have a deep fat fryer, so we're baking, steaming, boiling, those kinds of cooking techniques. So we do try our best to make other options available for them. So to the student that said the chicken burger was just a chicken patty on a bun, yes, if I'm making 200 chicken sandwiches and I dress them all with sauces and tomatoes and lettuce and whatnot, it's probably going to be a soggy mess by the time that last student in line gets it. So we try to put out those other toppings on the salad bar so they can go and dress it with some sauces and other options. That would be my initial thoughts when I hear some of those comments.
And that's a good point. They can take some ownership over the preparation of the meal as well. It's hey, I don't like the chicken burger without anything on it. Well, go put something on it. You've got the salad bar there. And as someone else mentioned, you can just jump in and get more food if you want it. Is that true?
Correct. Yeah. And I kind of alluded to this earlier. It's the salad bar. And like Devin said, the share bin. Those are other options for you. If you're still hungry, come on back, have some fruits and vegetables. I might not be able to give you that second chicken burger as part of the meal, but yeah, there's plenty of other options. Come on up and let us know and help yourself to whatever is still available to you.
Thank you. Any other reactions to the student comments, things that you heard? Erin?
I think one thing that just stands out to me is kind of just some of the misperceptions around the healthiness of some of the food pieces. And I think that's something that, we can help to reinforce and clarify for families, because I know there's so much hard work going into the food that's prepared. And so, yes, it may be a blueberry muffin, but there's a lot of thought behind how that blueberry muffin has been crafted to make sure that it's the healthiest possible option. And so I think it's really important for us to make sure we're, validating that with students and parents and helping them understand understand just how hard we're working to make sure those are good options.
Thank you. Judith?
And also, to go along with what Brian said, the food that we offer, like for instance, the cereal, that cereal has less sugar. It has less sugar than when you go and buy it off the grocery store shelf. We don't have MSG in our food. And those different ingredients that really deplete the nutritional value of any item, we don't have that. And our blueberry muffins, good gravy, they have real blueberries, So, and less sugar, and they taste great, and students eat them up every single day. So to be able to have options like French toast or a cinnamon bun or cereal and have it be the best quality possible, that's great.
And you mentioned something in there as well, which is what they have options for. So it's up to them to make some decisions as well about what they're picking off the offerings. So they may be reaching for something that's like more of a snack and avoiding some of the things that might be more nutritious. Taimei, you want to add something?
Yeah, I think for me and probably a lot of other parents, you kind of run into this place where I'm not in the school helping them make decisions. So like if what is available to them actually, it doesn't matter which milk they choose or whichever snack is put in front of them, they're not going to have to forego dessert that night because they always ask. I think really, it's great having all the nutritional information on the website because parents can take a look at that. But it is a challenge when your child, when given the choice, would pick things that aren't the best things for them to be eating. So it would be great if at some point we kind of removed some of those things or swapped them out. I know that again, is something that Brian has to work with the regulations and make sure that they're following all the rules, but definitely that is a parental concern when having your child buy lunch.
Well, let's talk about the laws and regulations since you mentioned that. Brian, you've got some pretty stringent requirements you're towing the line to when you're preparing meals and making decisions about what you serve. Can you tell us what those are generally?
Generally, sure. So I'll just focus on lunch for right now. So a lunch consists of 5 components that we're required to offer. One is a full serving of whole grains, a meat or a meat alternate, fruit, vegetable, and milk. So every meal is crafted to contain full servings of each of those components. So when a student comes through our line, we exercise the option, what's called offer versus serve. So I offer all 5 components, and a student is required to select at a minimum 3. One of those 3 components has to be a full serving of fruit or vegetable. And then to take that one step further, then they also subdivide vegetables into 5 subgroups that have to be offered every week. So it's a dark green vegetable, a red orange vegetable, a starchy vegetable, a category that they call other, and then beans, peas, and lentils. So that's why you'll see on our menu that there's always a featured vegetable specifically from one of the subgroups. So in a nutshell, that is how we craft the meal, and then the targets on calories, and this is a range by age group. So K-5 has a specific set of nutrient targets, if you will, on a weekly basis. Middle school has their own, high school has their own. So calories, sodium, fat, 0 trans fats, sugar. So there's targets. So over the course of a whole week, when I plan all 5 days, then I'm looking at the averages to make sure that I'm hitting the goals for all of those meals by the planned menu of a student selecting all 5 components. So we want students to select all 5 components. That is the most nutritious meal that is being carefully planned. But as mentioned before, you just have to take at least a minimum of 3.
Sure. And they have their agency to choose what they want, but by offering certain things all the time, you're kind of guiding them towards making healthy choices over time.
Correct. It also helps with like food waste, for example. Like If I put all 5 components on every tray, here's your tray, here you go, that's called serve only. So you're going to have likely a lot more food waste of students not eating all of those components. So we're giving them a little flexibility like, hey, I really don't like corn, so I'm not going to eat the corn. Okay, that's fine. You don't have to have the corn, so choose a fruit then to get through that line and hit your required components on your tray.
Got it. So when it comes to recipes and making decisions about what you're preparing in the kitchens, are you developing those in-house or do you rely on some kind of government-sanctioned cookbook that's out there?
There are USDA recipe books out there available, but what works in Tennessee, for example, may not work in Washington. So it's okay to look at them and at least get kind of a baseline for, okay, I see what they're doing. I see how they're incorporating all of those components, but I try to keep it in-house as much as possible. Also, I talk to other directors. We get together at conferences and whatnot. And so, hey, what's working well for you? Do you have any ideas? I need a new Asian dish. I need a new Italian dish. I'd like to pull staff as well. Kitchen managers meet on a monthly basis. So if we roll out a new recipe, get together, hey, how did it go? You'll hear from some that say it was great. You'll hear from some that say it's not so great. So they're there in front of the kids more than I am. I only get out to the schools very seldom, so I need to listen to their voice as well. And we try new stuff. It's difficult to bring a new recipe on board because it has to be developed. You have to check all the boxes to make sure it is compliant. And then we have to source all the ingredients and then make sure that we're cross-utilizing as much as possible because storage is a consideration. We got to think of the cost of ingredients, whatnot. So it's a long process and you have to test it and make sure it can be replicated in each of the kitchens with the cooking equipment they have. There's more to it than needs to be there. So it takes a long time, but we try to rotate them in and out as much as we can.
And so the kitchens aren't all the same from school to school. They have different equipment?
Yes, we're trying to standardize as much as possible. So combi oven is just an oven that's basically a convection and a steamer combined. So we can inject some steam into the convection oven. It helps improve the quality of the product, helps lock in some moisture, and it helps some product cook faster. We don't have those in all of our kitchens right now, but we've been able to add them to some. So that's another thing is like, okay, now I have to write this recipe, make sure that if you do have a combi oven, you can cook it this way. But if you don't have a combi oven and you're relying purely on convection, then that staff member might have to change the way they're thinking about how to prepare it.
That's good to know. I didn't realize that. So speaking of trying to keep things in balance, we have students who have dietary restrictions or allergies. Are we doing anything on our end to accommodate them, or does that work largely lie with their families?
I really appreciate how food services and the district work when it comes to food allergies, because as a parent of a son who has graduated as Quest School District with life-threatening food allergies, it was very important to be able to know exactly what he was eating. And he wanted to be like everyone else and go and get lunch. He didn't want to only have to bring his lunch all the time. So even at a young age, he knew, I can't eat that. Does this have nuts? Does that have legumes? And so that does fall on the parents to train their children, but it's beautiful that we do have options for students with those allergies so that they can be like everyone else and stand on the lunch line and eat.
Taimei?
There are some accommodations. We have forms that we can have filled out for dietary accommodations for, say, celiac or things of that nature. And then obviously we have allergy action plans for our students with life-threatening allergies. We always have a worst-case scenario planned for, which is the EpiPens for those children in the health room, and a plan in place. So it's not often, but sometimes kids share food despite the no sharing policy. Sometimes kids want to see if they're still allergic to whatever it is they know that they're allergic to. So we just can't control everyone all the time.
Perfect. Thank you for that. So for families who may be facing financial challenges, especially like in our secondary schools, how does the free and reduced price meal program work? More importantly, can you speak to how student confidentiality is protected with that?
Absolutely. So meal assistance is available for any family. They can fill out an application at any point during the school year. So if their financial situation changes, It is a requirement to make sure you get one in every school year. There's a carryover period. It's a 30 operating day carryover period. But at the end of that 30 days, if there's not an application on file, then the student will go to a full paid status and could start accruing a negative balance on their account. Our website has the applications. We've translated them into the top six or seven languages spoken in our district. There are more languages available from the USDA's website. So we have paper applications available. We also encourage the online link because we can process those in seconds and have the student access those meals at their eligibility rate that day. But we are required by law to keep this information very confidential. There are very few people in our district that have access to a student's meal eligibility, mainly my office, and we keep it under lock and key. We do not distribute that information unless a parent has provided written consent. So, for example, recently there's House Bill 1660 that came out and offered assistance for students that qualify for free and reduced meals to access some fee-based extracurricular activities. So I want to think of like a field trip or ASB fees, whatnot, could be waived if we receive that parental consent to share their eligibility. So when something like that happens, we are able to share the eligibility with the software that bookkeepers and assistant principals are using to charge for those fees. And if they are qualified and have provided the consent, then those fees are waived.
Can I add on that part?
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a second step to being willing to share your consent for that information to be made available to the school. And that's just huge because as your students continue to go through our school district in middle school and high school, often class-based fees are more common, athletic fees. We can look for support for things like yearbooks and various expenses that come up at school if we know a family is having a tough time. We really, really want to do that, but it's hard for us to know if we haven't had that consent to share.
Thank you both for those comments. And yeah, that's a really good clarification that eligibility for free and reduced meals can have some other benefits for our families to be aware of.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Judith?
This is something that I think is just important for families to know, and that is that every single student will get fed. No student should ever leave the building and feel that they weren't able to get lunch or they weren't able to get breakfast, because every single student that wants to eat is going to get fed. That is our mission. That is why we are here. And so if parents can make sure that they let their students know if, oh, you forgot your lunch, go ahead and eat lunch at school. Because we do have times where a student will say, I opened up my lunchbox and it was empty. Well, they don't have to just sit there. So that is a message, I think, that is very important that families and students know. Don't worry about anything other than eating. Come on up.
Thank you. Devin?
And I would also just say that teachers are here to support as well, and that really reaching out to one of your students' teachers can really be that step to kind of get a kid who might be like fearful of walking themselves into breakfast for the first time or standing in the line and maybe not knowing their lunch number. Just reaching out to the teachers and the staff at a school. We all want to partner with families and with kids and really do everything we can to support them in their day.
Thank you. As we are nearing the end of this conversation, I want to ask you, Brian, what is on the horizon for our food services program? Are there particular changes that you are working on or areas you want to explore that our community might want to know about?
My background is culinary school. I wanted to be a chef, and so I'm a culinarian. I love food. I love good food. I love preparing food for people and serving people. So it's my goal to try to expand our menus a bit. Throughout my career, I've been doing this for, a long time. Since 2005, I think, is when I started in child nutrition industry. I've created a lot of recipes and tried to put new items out there to get excitement from the kids, only to see a lot of those recipes fail. So what I have learned throughout my career is that you cannot take away the staples of pizza, chicken nuggets, and cheeseburgers. Those will always prevail for the masses that we're feeding. Think about it this way, like we serve as a department probably about 10,000 meals a day in the Issaquah School District around the various buildings that we have. So it's a big operation. So I would like to start focusing on adding some additional types of cuisine because our population has grown so much more diverse than it was in 2008 when I was hired in this district. So to give some of those students an opportunity to maybe see something that's familiar to them. They might not know what a cheeseburger is, for example. So my focus right now is to try to work on some additional scratch or speed scratch items from various cuisines around the world. For example, the very first project I have right now, we have a lovely baker, Belle, over at Issaquah Middle School. Belle's from Thailand. And Belle has brought over multiple Thai food dishes that she has home cooked, and they're phenomenal, like better than anything that I've ever had at a Thai restaurant. One in particular caught my eye, and I was like, you know what? I think we can make that in our kitchens. Hey, Belle, would you mind giving me your recipe? And she sent me some photos of the ingredients and said, mix it together and simmer. And I was like, no, I'm sure there's more to that. But thank you at least for the recipe list. So I kind of went to work and turned it into a USDA compliant meal. I ran it by Belle. Of course, I was like, I had to make a few tweaks. I don't want to totally butcher your recipe. How do you think this is going to turn out? And she was like, okay, let's give it a shot. So we have now performed 2 taste tests at Issaquah Middle School and had a board with stickers. So the students that tasted it, we said, okay, vote yes or no. Would you like to see this on a menu again? And it's like 93% of the responses of the students that ate the dish voted yes. It's a yellow chicken Thai curry. It's got potatoes and some pineapple, and then we added a little bit of garbanzo bean in it as well. And once developed, we're going to offer it with the chicken, and then we'll also offer a purely garbanzo bean, so there's a vegetarian option as well. So we ran it at Liberty High School yesterday, and again, in the 90 percentile of students voting yes. So that's a huge success. I hope that we can get that on the menu coming up this winter. And then based on the response that we received, then I'll start focusing on some other cuisines from around the world. So I've pulled some student voice. Liberty High School, I had a couple of kids that went around the lunchroom and talked to their peers and said, hey, what kind of cuisine would you like to see on the menu? So I have a list now. I've also spoke to a parent focus group, talked to all of our staff just for some more ideas, start exploring, okay, I might not be able to do sushi, as we mentioned earlier, but what other dishes from various cuisines can I make for the K-12 feeding segment? So I'm excited about that. I'd love to get at least one a month and kind of have a featured, taste from around the world on the menu that we're doing. Probably roll it out at the secondary level. Their palates are a little more sophisticated or a little more open to those kinds of things, but then eventually shift it kind of to the elementary level as well. So that's what I'm really excited about. I get to flex the chef muscle.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for that. And I appreciate too, I'm hearing that you're doing a lot of data analysis with that as well to figure out, is this working? Is this not working? What do the students want? What do the staff want? What do the parents want? So it's not just you in a vacuum making decisions about what food is going to show up in the kitchen.
Absolutely. The second or the next recipe we're looking to develop, and I don't want to give any spoilers, but it came from an ISD parent. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Before I let you go, we need to have a quiz. So we've lifted the lid on our school meals program and sampled a few of the recipes for student success. Now it's time to test your palate with a light quiz we're calling Cafeteria Confidential. The rules are short and sweet. I'll ask the huddle 5 tantalizing questions. The person who rings the dinner bell and dishes out the most correct answers will go home with this tasteful and fiber-rich gold star sticker. Are you ready to dig in?
Yep.
Let's begin. Question 1. What is the preferred meal preparation method used in our schools? Is it A, a central prep kitchen delivering meals to schools, B, a combination of scratch and speed scratch cooking, or C, prepackaged heat and serve model? Oh, wow. Judith?
B.
B, a combination scratch and speed scratch? That is correct. Very good.
Nice.
Imagine if I got it wrong.
All right. Yeah, good call. Good call. Your boss is right next to you. Number 2, under the USDA's offer versus serve model for school lunch, a student must take at least 3 meal components, such as whole grains, a protein, vegetables, and milk. Which one of these components must be on their tray? Taimei?
I believe it's the fruit vegetable.
You are correct. It is actually fruit or vegetable, one of the two. Number 3, our school breakfast program offered at some of our schools ensures every student has access to breakfast, reducing the anxiety and stress associated with food insecurity. This focus on meeting students' foundational needs most directly supports which priority area from our 3-year strategic plan? Aaron?
I would say student well-being.
Student well-being is correct. Number 4, our kitchen staff receive ongoing training and are empowered to help develop new, culturally inclusive recipes. Which strategic priority is best supported by investing in our staff's skills to ensure a highly effective and engaged workforce? Aaron.
I feel like you could go a couple different directions, but I would go maybe diverse talent.
Diverse talent's what I wrote down. I'm curious, what's your second one?
I think about the authentic engagement piece as well, in terms of getting the opportunity for staff, like when you mentioned a parent is sharing a recipe and ideas there, and how that supplements our staff.
I'm giving you a bonus point for that, because that's a good, great explanation. I love the thought process.
She gets it.
All right.
I get to live this world.
Final question. Get those bell fingers ready. According to the USDA's My Plate model for healthy eating, a balanced meal should ideally include items from 5 food groups. Name 3 of the 5.
Okay.
Brian.
All right. Meat alternate, whole grain, milk.
Yes, those are 3 of the 5. And the full 5, fruits, vegetables, grains, protein, and dairy.
I think Aaron ran away
I know,
with it.
Aaron, you just totally swept the floor with that one. So you will be walking home with this Gold Star sticker. Thank you all for your contributions today, though, because I've loved this discussion. It's been fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for joining our huddle today. If you enjoyed the discussion, please subscribe so you never miss an episode. We really want to talk about things you find interesting. So if you have an idea, head over to isd411.org/podcast and share it with us. Thanks for listening.